Hi guys, it's Saturday the 6th. I'm here with your Rapture update and more. This is a very super important one. I know I missed the last Saturday one. And when I wanted to get on and do it late, I was compelled not to. And I was like, but then people are going to be angry with me. Because when I'm compelled, when I feel it outside of me, I take it as Jesus. I tell you guys, I work on my relationship with Jesus all the time. I'm always talking to Jesus 24/7, even if he doesn't respond. And I was compelled not to do it. And I was like, dang it. And even my reputation, I feel like my reputation is going to be blown, or people are not going to, they're going to be mad. But I didn't do it because I was like, I don't care about my reputation. As soon as I thought that, I got mad at myself again. Do not care about your reputation over obedience of Jesus Christ. If he doesn't want to do the video, don't do it. If he wants them to miss a video for whatever his plan is or his reason is, then you follow orders. You don't do what you want to do. You do what Jesus wants you to do. You do what you have to do. So because 3 times from last Saturday till now, I thought, let's just do a video and get on there. But each time it was all, don't do it. And now I understand why. Last night, the Lord took me to heaven. So before I get started with that, that's what this whole thing is going to be about. There's no rapture yet. Did you watch the video I posted? How the guy that was taken to that rock in the sky the same way I was, how he got a message from the Lord out of nowhere, just like I got this message from the Lord yesterday out of nowhere. And to start saving up food, because the spring of 2026 is going to be something bad if it's going to happen. So just like the Lord warned many times his people in the Bible, save up food for the famine. It's coming. He gave that warning. Start saving food now for famine that's coming in the spring of 2026. And that he's a black guy. He has his own video. I posted this thing. He posted his video. And not just he was taken to the same planet I was taken to. He did a lot of prophecies last year during this time that happened. And one of them was the revival that came after Charlie Kirk. He did that video and many others. So trust him. I only put on videos for you people that are listening to me and trust me, that I trust. So if I post something, you take it as gold. Yeah, and do it. But let's get back to what happened last night. So this wasn't a vision, it was a dream, but it was also a translation. Like you get, like how I told you I got translated to that rock, just like the guy that I told you, go watch his video that I posted. He also got translated to that rock in space that's on its way here. It started off as a dream, and it turned into a translation. And it started off as, okay, if you've been watching my videos, my mom did not live a holy life. And if she hasn't repented from her old life and her old ways, the Lord already showed me she's not going to heaven. So if she still has not repented from those ways, she's not going to be in heaven. And her life was not a life of a daughter of heaven. Okay? And I've already voiced that many times. So the dream started off with family members. It started off with my mom. She owed someone. And they came to collect it. It was a debt. She owed a debt. And the collection of the debt was going to be death. Either give them the debt or her life is forfeit. And that's scriptural. That's why we die. We owe a debt to Lucifer. And if we can't give payment of that debt, we're his. We have to pay it ourselves. That's why Jesus is so important. He pays for that debt. He paid for it already. You just have to accept it. And so they had come for her. And there was nothing I could do to help her. I tried, but I knew there was nothing I could do. These debt collectors were untouchable. You couldn't stop it from happening. So that went on for a little bit with a couple other things in there. And then as soon as I recognized that I was surrounded by family that I had never seen before, an angel wanted to play ping pong with me. This angel was fit, right? If you imagine a guy that works out and he's got muscles, he's not small, and he's bigger, 2 times bigger than your average Joe. When a muscle-bound man puts on a t-shirt, his shoulders are round, his pecs are round, and you see it through his shirt. He looked just like that. But he was so gentle. He was so kind, and for some reason, he really, really liked me. A lot. And I don't mean like a perverted homosexual, no. I mean like a way a big brother loves his little brother. And I mean and even more so than that, like a big brother who's 17 or 19 years old, who's an adult brother, and his mom just had a newborn baby. Yeah, he loved me like that. And he wanted to play ping pong with me. And it was like he had to wait for me to say yes. So as soon as I said, yeah, let's go, he picked me up. We started walking together in a direction. He said, okay, follow me. And this is where the translation happened. Where it was no longer a dream. We started walking out of the area that we were which was I was watching my mom facing this debt, and refusing to pay. She was refusing to change to make the payment. And man, you guys, I'm serious. You better take repentance seriously, especially after you hear this whole video. This might go on past the 20-minute mark. I always try to finish that because the message that Jesus gave me was so crazy important. And be sure to share this with everyone. Anyways, we started walking, the angel, me and him, and then we picked up pace. And before I knew it, he was carrying me gently. And I was like, okay, so he picked me up. So the same way a grown man would pick up another grown man. So immediately I started feeling homophobic, right? Like, men don't touch each other like this. But there was a sense of brotherly love about it. So the only offense there in my mind and in my heart was towards me for feeling this way. Like, I was like, do not even voice this. And I did. I said, wow, men don't hold each other like this. and then I caught myself, and then I got pissed at myself because I was like, don't you voice anything negative towards this guy, because he is in no way, shape, or form perverted at all. So I got mad at myself for saying that. And the rest of the translation, that thought keep coming up, and you'll understand why. And I kept it inside, and I kept getting pissed at myself while getting a revelation of how perverted we are. So he started carrying me, and we were like 2 inches off the ground, and now we're flying, right? Fast. And we finally get to the spot where we're going to play ping pong. And we started playing, and immediately we were translated somewhere else. I didn't realize where we were until we were halfway into the tour. I got a tour of heaven. And I'm telling you guys, every time they say the colors are so vibrant there, the colors stuck out. Like I was a newborn baby and I'd never seen colors before. And I'll tell you when I finally realized where I was. But we were in heaven now. And we were greeted by a pack of other men. And they were all fit, like this angel that took me. So right now, I'm like, where am I? Because now it no longer feels like a dream. It was like, it felt real. And it already felt like, as soon as he started translating, picking me up and carrying me that first time, is this an angel, popped into my head. And now I knew that was an angel. And now I knew all these other guys that came around us, they were fit just like him. They had on their shirts. We were dressed casual, and their muscles were bulging, circular. So they were all of in good shape, and all of different sizes. Like you run with your friends. Some of them are 5'3", some of them are 6'2". That's how it was. They were all different sizes, but they were all fit. And we started hanging out, and they started giving me a tour of things. They said, "Are you hungry?" And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Let's go get some food." And one of them said, I remember what he said. It was like, I knew it wasn't a game that I was aware of, but it was a game that they were aware of. Like, what do you mean, Vince? Well, let's just say you're like, where do you want to go eat, Vince? And I say, well, I want to go get myself a Marvel Avenger Captain America burger. There's no such thing. But he said something like that on a theme of a game that they knew about in heaven. So we went up. So now listen, guys. Now I knew I was in heaven. I knew I was getting a tour of heaven by these angels. Yep, you knew it now. And at first it started off with the angel that took me. He was the biggest one out of all of them. Yeah, like he was a lot bigger than the rest. And by a lot. And there was there had to be at least 4 or 5 right from the start that came and greeted us as soon as we got to heaven. And it was like we were all, only way I can explain it is when you're in high school, you hang out with a group of guys or a group of friends every day. And you guys are tight. And after high school, you'll probably be tight. It was like that. We were tight. They were tight. And I was being given a tour by them. And this is where I want you guys to hear this. We were constantly rubbing up against each other. Wait. Now I know why homosexuality is a sin. We kept brushing our shoulders together constantly. They kept, you know how you pat your friends on your back, or you guys always have your arms around each other? That was constant. It was in no way homosexual at all. The only way I can describe it for a human to understand is if you've ever seen a litter of brand new puppies with their eyes aren't even open yet. In heaven, they constantly rub up against each other and touch each other shoulder to shoulder. I can't tell you how many times our shoulders kept rubbing up against each other purposely. On purpose. And the only way I can explain it is it had the innocence and the natural, I'll make up a word here, the naturality and the constant, the same way a litter of brand new puppies when they're born. They're just all over each other the whole time. It was just pure love. No perversion at all. And then in heaven, I realized that's why. So I had to keep fighting that. Men don't touch each other like that. And at first, I kept it to myself. After the first time I got pissed at myself, I kept it to myself. And now I'm having the revelation. Oh my gosh. We are nothing like the people in heaven. No wonder God says the second commandment is to love your neighbor. They love each other like newborn puppies, and they touch each other constantly like newborn puppies without perversion. That's why homosexuality is a sin. It's a perversion of brotherly love. Everything that's a sin is a perversion that the devil perverted. It's a way in heaven that has been perverted by the devil, starting with Adam and Eve. He just perverted everything. That's why homosexuality is a sin, because it perverts brotherly love. Men and women are the only thing that are supposed to be intimate with each other. Check this out. I only saw men in heaven, except for 3. I saw 3 females. I don't know if that was by design. And let's just keep going. So we finally get to like, dude, I was able to see the city around us, which was so colorful, but I was only able to see it with peripheral vision. Only certain things I could focus on. And they brought me up to a vending machine. The same way you go up to like, this is the best way to describe it. You ever been up to one of those vending machines where you get a lottery ticket? Not the 6 ball or 7 ball. It's the kind you scratch. But when you go up there, it's like, you got this choice, this choice, this choice, this choice. And you pick the one you want. That's how you got your food. That's how we got our food. Yeah, we would pick and it would come out to us. I can't wait for heaven. We didn't pay either. There was no sense of money there. You were hungry, and then I saw the game that they were talking about, and I said I want that one. And there were 5 options that you chose. I chose the middle one, and one of the bigger angels said, "You want that one?" And you could tell that I had chose wrong. Like I didn't know what I was doing, like a newborn baby, you know. And they all laughed, and I got the feeling that was a big meal for a family. And I said, I wanted a double cheeseburger. And another angel, the same way a big brother would do it for me, because he knows what I want, he hit the cheeseburger one for me. And I knew it. And so I imitated him like a baby. We're like babies to them. And they love us a lot. And I'm not going to go into everything, because if I told you everything in all the detail, it will be a while. Because the tour was a beautiful tour. And check this out. One of the angels, the one that, I think it was the one that brought me there, he kissed me on my cheek. It was constant brotherly affection. The same way you would constantly kiss your newborn baby. A father would kiss his newborn baby, or a mother would kiss their newborn. It was constant affection like that. And the whole time I'm thinking, men don't do this on earth. And about halfway through the visitation, I started doing it back to them. It started to feel normal, and I wanted to do that to them. I wanted to return the love. But before I truly got there, maybe it was this kiss because I think after the kiss, I started acting more. So maybe the kiss cleaned me up. But the biggest of them all, I think the angel that brought me there was the biggest of them all. I don't know if he was my guardian angel. I don't know if all these are my guardian angels that are assigned to me. I don't know. But he kissed me on my cheek the same way a mother would kiss a newborn baby, and a peck on my cheek. And he just like it lasted for 4 seconds. As gentle as you can on a baby. And he did that to me. With no perversion. If you're thinking perverted or homosexual, I'm telling you now, that is how different and how sinful and evil we are. There was no perversion. I understand homosexuality is a sin because it is the devil's way of perverting God's creation of brotherly love. I get it now. And no, but he kissed me, and that's the only way I can explain it, is the same way a dad or a mother would kiss their newborn 1-year-old with the chubby cheeks, and he kissed me like that. This angel loved me so much. I don't know if he's my guardian angel. I don't know if he's around here right now around me, but he loved me so much, more than the others. Yeah, he did. I could feel it. He loved me more than the others. And so after that, we did some more tours, and now I'm acting more loving. I'm trying to brush up against them. I'm trying to hold them. And I get away from them, and I go into this other area. I don't know if they knew or not. I think they're just like us. We can catch them off guard, because I've caught angels off guard before. I've told you how I surprised them, and they were like, whoa, he sees us. And I got away from them, and I went somewhere else. And I saw other angels, And there were our angels were dressed. The angels that were around us, my little group, we were dressed more like high school kids out of high school. Graduated with t-shirts, and we're having fun. But I ran into other angels too that were dressed different, more sophisticated, with like a suit and tie, the way you'd see like a sophisticated jazz guy. Like, how some guys cross their legs with their foot on their knee, but some sophisticated men will cross their legs almost like a girl, how it's flipped over. I ran into a room, I won't go into the detail. It was awesome there, guys. I'm telling you. I went in there and I knew it was a quiet room. Yeah, there was a billiard room. It had a lot of pool tables, but all the angels in there were sitting watching TV, and it was quiet. And I wanted to say something to them, but I knew that they were chilling and they were sophisticated. So like a baby, I felt like a baby there the whole time, guys. Oh, and these angels looked at me like that. When I walked in there and I decided to be quiet and I look at the TV where they were looking at me the same way. You ever see like grown men or especially grown women and there's a 1-year-old walking all cute and they're just like admiring the baby? They were looking at me like that. They were admiring me. And finally I left that area and I found something else that was really cool. And this was the first woman that I saw in heaven. She was well endowed, and I noticed that right off the go. And she wanted to come and help me because she saw that I was looking around, and she wanted to help me out out of pure love. And she came and she explained some stuff to me about something. I won't go into it. And then I asked her a question. I'll tell you this though. I asked her, where is it we go to fight? Because I want to train in fighting with angels. And she said, she pointed me to a game, like an arcade game. And I said, no. I mean, hand-to-hand combat, real fighting. Nothing evil, just skill. And then she said, oh, that's in the back. You got to go to the back area to do that. And you got to put on the mask in order to do that. And I said, what mask? And my angel that brought me there, that I got away from, he came fast. And he spoke to her in another language that I have never heard before. No human has ever heard this language before. And it had clicks to it. So I don't know if that's the language that they use in heaven, but it had clicks. And he said something to her, and she was all, oh, okay. And then she like stopped paying attention to me. And I stopped her, and because he looked like, whoa, like the only way I could explain it is he was like, whoa, don't tell him that. Don't tell him that. And but I don't know what he said. And then I said, but that was his demeanor. Like he had lost track of me. And he was all, whoa. And when I asked her, so before I continued on with him, I said, what did he say? Because you never heard that language before, but it had clicks to it. And she said, oh, he said that he's the one that's supposed to give you the tour. And I was all, oh, so I went back with him. And then this is where everyone needs to listen. As soon as I went back with him, all the angels surrounded me that I was with, and now there were more. We were in a hut. It was like I was the quarterback, and they were huddled all around me. It's the best way to explain it. And I just started crying. I knew where I was, and I knew that I wasn't allowed to stay because I knew I hadn't died. And I knew my body was back on earth. And I just started crying, bawling my head out. No! And it was literally crying. And one of the angels said, why are you crying? And I said, I know I have to go back. I know where I'm at now. And I said, I know I'm not dead. I know I'm going to have to go back to my body. And I said that to him. I know I'm going to have to go back to earth, and I don't want to leave. I don't ever want to leave. I don't ever want to go back there again. And I just started crying, guys. I started crying. And so I'm frustrated, right? And I'm frustrated. I'm angry and I'm crying because I know I have to go back now. I have to leave heaven. And I saw the second woman that I saw up there. She was wearing a skirt, but it wasn't inappropriately high. It was like appropriate length. Like, you ever see a girl wear a mini skirt and it's like showing the upper thigh and it's sexy? No, that was covered. It was at an appropriate length, no showing up high, with no sexy appeal to it. But my lust in my head, I said, those are up here? No, because I'm like, I don't want to go back because I'm so fed up with sin. And I'm so fed up with fighting sin. And I'm so fed up with it. And when I saw that, I just broke down and cried even more and said, I'm so tired of lusting. I thought I wouldn't have to do that here. But I know you don't there. I just was, I'm crying like a baby. And then I heard, Vince, look at me. And this was the third woman, the third angel. And I looked, and she was the only female huddled around us. Because the other girl, I only got to see her waist down because she was walking by. Remember, I wasn't allowed to see out of my peripheral vision. And if I could, it felt peripheral. Like I knew it was there. I could see the color, but I couldn't make things out. I was only allowed to see straight ahead. And, but I saw her. She got in the way. And I heard, Vince, look at me. Listen. And I looked, and it was a female angel, one that was huddled around me. And she said, do you want to come back here? And I said, yes. Yeah, she said, if you want to come back here, listen closely to me, Vince. In order to come back here, you have to let go of blame, or you can't come back. And I'm already bawling, right? And now I feel hopeless. I just heard what I had to let go of, and the gravity of what we do here on the earth instantly hit me. And I said, that's impossible. And as soon as I said that, the smallest out of all the angels, he was the smallest one. It was like he won a bet. The angel to his right, he goes, that's impossible. He went just like that, like he had won the bet. And I'm a warrior. I'm a fighter. And whenever I see someone doing something wrong or saying something wrong, I don't agree. I immediately try to correct. And I knew, oh yeah, the whole time they don't use words improperly there. Nope. Because I would say things and I'd be like, this is the wrong word. This is the wrong word to use. They do not make mistakes like that. So I knew that it wasn't impossible. What I knew was I was misusing the word impossible. And what it was intensely, incredibly difficult. So difficult. But I was calling it impossible. So I corrected the angel. I said, no, you don't get. And I even told him, you don't get it. I don't mean it's impossible like it can't be done. I said, you don't understand what we have down there on earth. I told him the body that's waiting for me back. I'm talking to that angel who was acting like he won the bet. Like he didn't think I could, like he's like, and I got a download. That's why none of the humans are going there. The majority of all humans don't go to heaven because you don't get it. You're not letting go. You're not repenting. And I told him, you don't get it. That body that's waiting for me back on earth, that body, and now I know, yeah, this is not me. This is not me that you see. No, I'm operating in this. Like I'm in the car, my brother's car right now. This car is me. My spirit and soul that went to heaven is the thing inside. So this flesh is not me. And this is what I was crying about in heaven. When I get put back into my body, all that body wants to do is blame people. And I'm not talking, and I'm telling him in the spirit, not just me. That's how everyone works. That's how every piece of flesh works there. And I said, the body wants to blame people constantly. Like a horse that doesn't listen. Like a horse that wants to go left when I'm trying to get it to go right. And I said, the mind too. That mind that's in that flesh body, I'm yelling at the angel, like he doesn't get it. And I even said, you don't get it. That mind also wants to blame people. Think about it. When you're late, you blame someone. When you're in your car and you're tailgating them, you're blaming them. You're getting angry at them for not going faster or getting over to the right lane. Your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, you're holding on to blame, something that they did to you when you were younger. You go to work, you're blaming that job. You got to stay for overtime. Blame is almost on every friggin' decision for every human. That's why all humans are so dysfunctional and angry at each other. Before you lashing out at someone and honking at them, you're blaming them for something. And she said, and then as soon as I said that, I thought to myself, this is going to be so hard. So, and as soon as I thought that, I left. I was gone out of heaven. As soon as I thought that because I thought I'm gonna have to go back and I'm gonna have to try. I gotta come back here. Boom! I was gone. I was back in my body. But there were three things holding on to my body, as if they were holding onto my soulless body while I was in heaven. And as soon as I got back, boom! I was surrounded by a whole group of different people. I'm going to tell you now, they were fallen angels. And I'll tell you, keep listening. So, one of them was a baby and it was holding my leg. And the other two were to my left, holding my hand and my shoulder. And they were the only ones that were able to move around. The rest of them were stationary, like this. Like, imagine if I blew all those back like that. They were all stationary and they couldn't move like that. And they were all black. Now, I don't mean black like a black man. No, I mean, imagine a fireman coming out of a charcoal fire and how they're all with that black soot. They all had black soot as if they had been in the fire for thousands of years. So immediately, when they're touching me, it felt nothing like when they were touching me in heaven. It felt inappropriate and pushy. Yeah, it felt pushy. And I immediately knew that, okay, something's different. Something's way different. And the first guy grabbed me and he tapped me and he goes, hey, they said forget about it. They said gate 68 is not going to be open for you anymore. Don't even try it. And I got scared. I was like, I can't make it into heaven. And then, but my discernment, and I know the Bible, and I already knew something was up. So I said, I looked down at the baby and the baby was holding me, but the baby's hands were like an old woman. So everything's off. Everything's off, right? And especially after coming back from where I just came from, yeah, this is not right. And I looked at the baby and the baby's all, yup. They said, don't even worry about it. You're not going to be able to get back there. Just do whatever you want. And I looked at the other guy and I said, what did you say? And he repeated it. He said, yeah, they said the gate 68, they're not going to leave it open for you. They're going to go ahead and lock it. Just go ahead and do whatever you want to do. And I immediately told him, I looked at the whole room and there was a lot. There was a lot of fallen angels there. I was surrounded by a grip. Now, I don't know if these are the fallen angels that have been assigned to me to always make my life hard, but special men have to have special angels and special numbers to protect them. So I don't know what they were, or I knew what they were. They were fallen angels, but there was well over 5 times the amount of them was around me in heaven, and they were all fallen. And this is how I knew they were fallen. So their touch felt weird, and I was all, your guys' touch feels weird. And then as soon as I said that, the baby let go of me, and I said, you guys are the fallen angels, huh? And none of them would answer that question. Angels aren't allowed to they can't tell the truth. Yeah, because I drilled them. Now I'm turning the tides on them now, because I know who they are now. And I'm just as conscious as I am now as I was there. And I said we were all in a dark room too. And I walked into the dark room amongst all the fallen angels. And I said, are you able to talk to your brothers up in heaven, brothers? And I was referring to the heaven angels. And I said, are you guys able to communicate back and forth to each other? And he wouldn't look at me and he wouldn't answer. And I said, I asked another angel, are you able to talk to, and they were acting like they didn't know what I was talking about. So I said, let me say it clearly then. Are you guys able, you fallen angels, are you guys able to talk to the angels in heaven that didn't listen to Lucifer. And I even said that too. I said, you guys are the angels of Lucifer. And as soon as I did that, they all backed off, stopped touching me. All of them did, all three that were stationary. And that's when I got in the midst of them. And then the angel wouldn't answer. It was like he wasn't allowed to answer because they're not allowed to tell the truth, or they can't. So he said, man, you're asking hard questions. And another angel behind me, I knew he was the most evil in the room. He said, I love hard questions. And I went up to him, and I found him where he was, and I went right up to him, and I hovered over him. I looked down, and I waited for him to answer, and he wasn't answering me. And I kneeled down, and I said, what? I have to repeat myself? And all the angels said, dang! Like they couldn't believe I had just talked to that angel like that, knowing that he was like the baddest one in there. It would be like going to prison and talking to the alpha prison inmate in there, like talking to him how he's never been talked to before. And all the angels were like, and he got so pissed. And I said, and I knew I said to all the angels, I knew that they weren't going to answer me. They were just going to try to lead me on. So I turned it on them. I said, Our Father, thou art in heaven. And that's it. They were able to get up. Boom. The angel that was me trying to provoke me, he got up. You ever seen a guy where he gets in your face like he's puffy chest and he's about to hurt you? He got up and got in my face like he was gonna try to kill me. And I said, Our Father, thou art in heaven. And as soon as I said that, I heard the other angels that I had all met in heaven saying my words exactly as I was saying them at the exact time. It was echoing like a beautiful chorus. And the roof went from black to white light. And I started saying, Our Father Jesus, my Lord and Savior. And they were repeating it. And then as I'm saying the prayer, I'm like, how can they say it so quick with me? How do they know what I'm going to say? And they were word for word, second for second, repeating the prayer that I was just glorifying God in rebellion of all those fallen angels around me. I did it on purpose to show the angels there, I rebel against you guys. And those angels started doing the prayer with me, and it got louder and louder, and each fallen angel started coming up around me, and now they were all up. They're like 50 or 20 fallen angels surrounding me. And then as soon as they all surrounded me, I was engulfed in white light as I said, Our Lord and Savior, please keep me from holding any grudges. Please keep me from, because I was praying what the angel said for me to do. Let go of blame. Please help me let go of blame. Please keep me from holding on to grudges. And they were saying it exactly like me. And then I could no longer see the fallen angels. I was engulfed in a ball of white light. And boom, my eyes opened up, and I was staring at my Christmas tree. And I sat there for like 5 minutes in complete calm, thinking, wow, the Lord just took me to heaven. You have to let go of blame. If you're blaming anyone for anything, or you're practicing blame, you're not going to heaven. It was a serious message. You must let go of blame. That's why Jesus said, don't hold on to anything. If you're blaming anyone for anything in your life, or you're a blamer, heed this warning. Those fallen angels were charcoal black from the fire that they're constantly around. You can't go. And when that angel said, when he repeated like he won the bet, like I tell you, downloads are downloaded, and it downloaded how many humans aren't going to heaven because they're holding on to blame. They're blaming someone for something. And that is an everyday, every thought occurrence with everyone around me everywhere. We're constantly blaming people. We're constantly holding on to blame and grudges. You had the angel, and it was absolute. If you want to come back, you have to let go of every single piece of blame. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later.